A car made of Duraplast that was built for 34 years, a limousine heavier than a tank, and an off-road machine that still conquers the Arctic today. Welcome to the top 10 communist cars of the Soviet era, vehicles that made history, inspired jokes, and changed the world. These cars were more than metal and engines. They were symbols, propaganda tools, survival machines in one of the toughest political experiments in human history. And some of them are still driving today, long after their Western competitors turned to rust. Let's go. Number 1. OGAZ-21 Volga. Built from 1956 to 1970. Imagine it's 1956. Stalin is dead, Khrushchev promises reforms, and suddenly this car rolls through Moscow, chrome shining. Silhouette inspired by American cruisers, the GAZ-21 Volga was the Soviet answer to Cadillac and Buick. With one key twist, it was meant for the masses. Well, meant in reality, 15 years of waiting. But hey, that's communism, right? Specs: 2.4-liter inline-4, 70 horsepower, top speed 130 kilometers per hour, rear-wheel drive, leaf springs, and suspension that survived Siberian potholes. The Volga became a taxi, police car, and symbol of the Soviet middle class. Over 600,000 units built, exported to 49 countries. Funny fact, West German taxi drivers tested the Volga in the 60s. Their conclusion: unbreakable, but keep the windows shut. The engine is too loud. The GAZ-21 Volga wasn't a technological masterpiece, but it was honest, no gimmicks, no planned obsolescence, just steel, engine, and pure survival instinct. Number 9. ZIL-111. Built from 1958 to 1967. Now things get serious. This machine was only for the elite. The ZIL-111 was Khrushchev's personal state limousine, 6 meters long, 2.4 tons, powered by a 6-liter V8 with 220 horsepower, more power than most Soviet tractors. Classless society? Sure. Unless you were general secretary, then you cruised Moscow in this chrome-plated tank on your own priority lane. The ZIL-111 was basically a copy of American luxury sedans. Cadillac tail, Packard grille, Lincoln chrome, but built in the USSR with Soviet precision. Only 112 units were made, each hand-built. Ordinary citizens weren't even allowed to touch one. Ironically, Khrushchev himself criticized the extravagance and later ordered ZIL to build more modest cars. But the ZIL-111 remained a symbol, proof that communism preached equality but lived hierarchy. Number 8. Trabant 601. Built from 1964 to 1990. IS. The most famous and most mocked car in the Eastern Bloc. But honestly, how bad can a car be if it was built for 26 years without major changes? Made from Duraplast, a tough composite of cotton waste and phenolic resin. Powered by a 26 horsepower two-stroke engine that sounded like an angry lawnmower. Top speed, 100 kilometers per hour. Reliably, a good one could reach 110 to 115. But here's the truth, the Trabant was a masterpiece of simplicity. Weight, 610 to 650 kilograms. Maintenance, laughably easy. Anyone could repair it using a hammer, wire, and two-stroke oil. Specs: 594cc air-cooled, 4-speed manual, 7 liters per 100 kilometers. The East German government chose two-stroke engines because they were cheap and easy to produce. The waiting times? Insane. In the DDR, you waited 10 to 15 years for your parents ordered it when their kids were born, so it would arrive by age 18. Then came 1989. The Berlin Wall fell and thousands of Trabants stormed west. Smoking and rattling, but unstoppable. The Trabant became a symbol of freedom, and anyone who's ever replaced a Trabant clutch in 40 minutes knows which Western car lets you do that. Number 7. Wartburg 353. Built from 1966 to 1988. The Wartburg 353 was the Trabant's bigger, stronger brother, also a two-stroke, 992cc, 3 cylinders, 50 horsepower, top speed, 125 kilometers per hour, and torque that surprised many Western drivers. In the DDR, it was the car for doctors, engineers, party members. It cost twice as much as a Trabant, and the waiting time was just as terrible. Classic joke. What's the difference between a Wartburg and a Jehovah's Witness? You can shut the door on the Jehovah's Witness. But jokes aside, the Wartburg was robust, extremely robust. Rally teams used it in the 60s and 70s, and it actually won international events. Its freewheel system made it very fuel efficient if you knew how to drive it. Under 8 liters per 100 kilometers was possible, and the NOx emissions were lower than 4-stroke engines by design. After the fall of the DDR, the Wartburg was quickly replaced, but today it's a cult classic, a symbol of East German engineering with all its strengths and flaws. Number 6. Moskvitch. From 1967 onward, the underrated champion of the Soviet Union. Ever heard of a Soviet car that beat Western competitors in rally races? 1.5-liter inline-4, 75 horsepower. Top speed, 140 kilometers per hour. Doesn't sound impressive, but wrong. The Moskvitch 412 had an overhead cam engine, modern and reliable. In 1969, it joined the London-Sydney Rally to 16,000 kilometers of desert, mountains, and mud. The result, it finished ahead of many Western cars. The Western press was shocked. Over 2.3 million units were built and exported worldwide. Europe, Africa, South America. In Belgium, it was sold as the Skaldia, but quality varied wildly. Some lasted 300,000 kilometers. Others fell apart at 30,000. Welcome to Soviet planned economy. Quality control was basically a lottery. Number 5. ZAZ-968. Zaporozhiets 1971 to 1994. The most controversial design in the USSR, heavily inspired by the NSU Prinzrear air-cooled compact. But while Western versions looked charming, the ZAZ split opinions. 1.2-liter, 41 horsepower, top speed, 110 kilometers per hour. The rear engine meant good winter heat. Yes, the heater actually worked. It was the cheapest car in the Soviet Union, intended for large families and people with disabilities. Nickname, the one with the ears, due to the side air intakes. Over 3.4 million units were built. Loved by some, hated by others, but undeniably practical. Today it's a cult car, an automotive underdog. Number 4. Moskvitch Navi, 1972 to today. Yes, still in production. Over 50 years later. 2.4-liter inline-4, 75 horsepower for WD solid axles. The Soviet Jeep. This thing could go anywhere. Siberian tundra, no problem. Afghan mountains, easy. Muddy village roads, daily routine. Comfort, none. Heating, optional. Reliability, legendary. Exported to over 100 countries. Used by armies, police forces, safari operators. After the Soviet collapse, UAZ simply kept building it with minimal changes. Why change perfection? Number 3. RAF 203, 1976 to 1997. The Soviet minibus from Riga, Latvia. Based on the GAZ-24 platform. Engine, 2.4-liter, 90 horsepower, capacity, 11 passengers or 1 ton of cargo. It was everywhere. Ambulances, school buses, police vans, and the famous marshrutkas, the Soviet shared taxis still seen today. After the USSR collapsed, the RAF 203 became the backbone of post-Soviet transport. Many are still on the road, rattling, loud, but irreplaceable. Number 2. Lada Niva, 1977 to today. The legend, the indestructible one, the off-roader that conquered the world. The Neva was the first mass-produced off-road vehicle with a unibody design and permanent for WD years before the Audi Quattro. 1.6-liter, 80 horsepower, 5-speed, 22 centimeters ground clearance, 1,150 kilograms weight. The Neva won rallies, crossed deserts, survived the Arctic, and cost a fraction of a Land Rover. Over 3 million built, sold in 100+ countries, and still in production, almost unchanged. Proof that Soviet engineering could be world-class. Number 1-14 Shaika, 1977 to 1988. The KGB limousine. The black symbol of Soviet elite power. 5.5 meters long, 2.3 tons, 5.5-liter V8, 220 horsepower. Luxury features, power windows, AC, leather seats. But only for top officials, Politburo members, KGB chiefs, state guests, ordinary citizens couldn't even dream of touching one. It embodied the ultimate irony. The USSR preached equality but drove in luxury limousines. The Chaka is extremely rare today. Museum pieces, collector treasures, a window into an era where power and steel were inseparable. And here we are, the complete top 10 communist cars of the Soviet era. From 1956 to 1977, from the GAZ-1 Volga to the GAZ-1 Chaika. These cars tell a story of ideology, engineering, and irony. They were controversial, outdated, compromised, but honest. No marketing nonsense, no planned obsolescence. Just machines built to survive. And the craziest part, many of them still run today, while Western luxury cars are long gone. Lada Nivas still cross deserts. UAZ 469S, roam Siberian forests, and Trabants cruise Berlin. Because Soviet cars had one advantage. They were built for eternity, not for profit. Now it's your turn. Which Soviet car is missing from this list? Tell us in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe for more automotive history. The next video goes live in 48 hours. You don't want to miss it. And remember, these cars will outlive us all. See you next time.